Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. Today's the day. We are going to do the final episode with the push, if you will, the call to action, if you will, to try and get justice for Hailey. So right now, what I'm going to do is call Miss Barbara, Hailey's mama, and Stella and Tyler. They're waiting on the phone call. Hey, I'm starting to record. Okay.
Okay.
All right. First of all, how are y'all, ladies?
We're good. We're excited, nervous for the final episode.
Right. Call to action. It may not be the final episode, but it's the most important episode, probably, other than
right.
Them hearing everything. So it's we're all unscripted. I think we'll just start talking about it. But I've already recorded my opening for the listeners. And before we start with y'all, and if there's anything that's messed up, Sydney can edit it out. But what I want to do, y'all tell me how you feel about it, is we can talk about it from the beginning to the end, and what mistakes were, or why it was never presented to the grand jury, and in the end we could go down the list and give everybody the the numbers and addresses. Of course, we'll post it across all social media, etc.
Perfect. That sounds good. Yeah, and you have to lead it because I ramble and go off on the tangents on the other side. So just you lead.
All right. So, we're going to start. By I think what the prosecution's main problem is that they didn't have everything in one place. They didn't have all the information that y'all put together and gave to me and we gave to the lifers. And and of course we had the issue with the pathologists and stuff like that, but we'll talk about it all. But first, let's start with that day. If we, the December the 26th, and they being Hailey and Brooks Cleary were at their apartment. We know that much. And it was a very, very brutally cold day. And they, according to him, they woke up and started drinking. And we know at some point they went to the Anchor Bar, right?
Right.
And they got kicked out because of Brooks.
Right.
Right.
And I mean, from all account, or from what Mazda said and the people at the Anchor Bar, according to the DA, they both seemed fine in the beginning, and then after 2 drinks, Brooks was just belligerent.
Yeah, well, maybe he started before. Who knows, right? And but who gets thrown out of a bar / restaurant the day after Christmas?
Exactly.
And then we know, or according to him, of course, his story changes, and that's one thing that that they need to take notice of. I know they have, but how many times his story changes throughout this whole thing, and it's always to his advantage naturally, right? But they go home somewhere around 8:30, somewhere around that time. There's a big argument to the point where the property manager comes over and says, "Hey, if y'all don't stop, I'm calling the cops." Right?
Right. Yeah. She had heard them arguing for a while, and then I guess one of the apartment complex,
one of her next door neighbors had complained and said that someone needed to go and, warn them to be quiet, and said that there was plates being thrown or something, or they heard something crashing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the first things, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember them ever asking that lady or seeing the apartment. They never asked her what Brooks was wearing when they went over there and told them they're going to call the cops.
Right. I haven't seen anything where they talked to anybody about what he was wearing.
Right. So my next point was going to be, he's sitting outside, I guess, in a few situations, so the cops don't get called, or maybe she kicked him out. And he talks to the guy Buck, the neighbor. They didn't ask him what he was wearing.
Exactly.
Right. And but I can assure you, he wasn't wearing that short sleeve champion shirt that he had on in the videos, because it was freezing cold outside. I mean, everybody was talking about the pipes bursting and how cold it was. And you could see on all the videos how cold it was. So he's not sitting outside in that, right?
Exactly. And she said that he had been sitting out there because she kept looking out her window to make sure he was sitting there. And she said he was sitting out there for a while, and then she looked and he was gone. So he was sitting out there for a good bit. I'm sure he wasn't sitting out there in that shirt.
Right. And to fast forward a little bit, one of the last videos we released was y'all opening the bag with the sweatshirt with all the, with the blood and the other items. I hate to just, the other evidence, if you will, on it. Correct?
I'm almost positive that's what he did it in. That's the only way it could have that much of everything on it.
Right.
And I still don't understand. We asked them time and time and time again
if there was any other clothes with blood on it, or with, anything on it that would have led to him wearing something else.
If they ever found the shirt that he was wearing. And you heard the guy in the video say, we never found a shirt with blood on it.
Right. But the funny, it's not funny, but the obvious thing is they obviously took it and they put it in evidence because they released it to y'all. And and it was in a plastic bag, and I'm the one that told you to put it in paper because plastic, makes it mold and stuff like that when it has blood. And so there's a misstep there. How easy would it be, even to this day, to take that sweatshirt and go back and say, was this what he was wearing? Because now, in his own statements, he changed it time and time again. Even that first night until later on, he says, I went in to change my sweatshirt. I went in to change my pants. Different times when I talked to him, he kept changing the item of clothing that he changed. Well, the one thing that never changes is the truth. Did he shoot her and go in there? Obviously, he changed. But
and they found blood on the bed.
They had to take the bed out. It was gone by the time that
we got into the apartment. So there was blood on the bed. So that means he had to go in there afterwards.
Yeah. So he probably went in there afterwards and sat down and took his pants off and took his shirt off and what have you. So, I mean, it's just, of course, we'll never know, but it's certainly not too late for investigators to go back and talk to the apartment complex manager, talk to Buck, and then talk to whoever's at the Anchor Bar and say, hey, was this the sweatshirt he was wearing, or was he wearing the short sleeve champion shirt? I mean, it's just the sweatshirt, I think, is, could certainly, we're getting into circumstantial evidence naturally, right? But that the law says you should not give more weight to circumstantial evidence than direct, or vice versa. Direct evidence being DNA. Circumstantial is like, if I'm getting ready to take a nap, it's freezing cold outside, it's cloudy, it looks like it's about to snow. I take an hour nap and I wake up and it's not snowing, but there's 6 inches of snow on the ground. That's circumstantial, but only a reasonable person would think, hey, it snowed.
Exactly.
Right? I mean, it didn't get there any other way. And all these things, I think if they take them in totality and go back and put it together and give it to the grand jury, then let the grand jury decide. That's what we want, right? Yeah, and because I don't believe there's a person in the world that wouldn't say, well, yeah, obviously, and charge them with murder. So, but
I don't see how anybody could hear all of this and think anything else.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about that too, about the hearing part. at some point someone hears the loud bang, and then it's different various accounts, whether it's 10 or 15 minutes later, that he runs downstairs and is banging on doors. Help, help. Girlfriend had a seizure. She fell and hit her head and what have you, right? Well, right. Also in the statements, he said they were watching YouTube videos all day. Why do you have to go downstairs to get help when you have a cell phone?
Right. And there's exactly. And the phones were supposedly in Mazda's car, but he had another phone on him.
Yeah, well, I mean, by his own admissions, he said that one thing over and over again, that all day they watch videos on
Exactly.
YouTube shorts and stuff like that. And of course, all the different lies, like they didn't leave the apartment, then she left the apartment to go get whatever. Then another time he says he went with her to go to the store to get whatever. I think even one time it was like water or something. It doesn't matter. They kept changing, and that's just, you put every one of those lies, part of it's got to be a lie. If you tell 10 different versions of the same thing, you're lying on at least 9 of them, and put it all together.
Yeah, and the thing is, he remembers things that shed him in a good light.
That's right.
But he doesn't remember anything that happened.
He remembers everything that's advantageous to him.
Exactly.
Right. And okay, he goes downstairs, he's running around, he's banging on the door, and that poor fella goes upstairs, and it didn't take him long to realize, no way, right? And in fact, I think I'm quoting when I say, he said, looks like a fucking homicide or a murder scene. It looks like a fucking murder scene, and you know why? Because it was. But first responders get there. He's happy-go-lucky, sitting on the steps in the freezing ass cold, and all the cops. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
But that's something, he went from screaming when he thought he was being recorded on the police call.
Mm-hmm.
He went from screaming and crying and doing this dramatic whole, thing to when people actually showed up and he didn't know there was body cam.
Mm-hmm.
He was completely fine and making jokes and laughing about the weather and his shoes. And
right. Hey, and what about the one point that was so telling, when the guy's on the phone with 911 and he keeps going, oh baby, and at one point he's like, bitch. Did y'all catch that? He said,
only after you said it did we realize.
And I don't think the DA ever mentioned that either. I don't think anybody else caught that.
It's in there, and that shows state of mind. Like he obviously he's full of shit faking it, because I mean it's like caveman run from the dinosaur. It's self-preservation. Caveman's walking through the jungle or whatever, walking through the woods, and all of a sudden a T-Rex gets after him. Holy shit, you're gonna run and try to climb a tree, try to do whatever you can to get away. He did what he did, and then he's in oh shit, right? Do I think that he woke up that morning and intended to murder her? No, but the result is what it is, and then he's in oh shit mode. And the problem with oh shit mode is you can't remember everything. You can't. I mean, I'm not saying like that. You can't cover up everything.
Exactly.
Right? It's too much. I mean, he had 15 minutes to change his clothes and whatever. And instead of me calling 911 and telling them she fell and hit her head, let me go get somebody else. Right. And possibly, like y'all said, possibly he took something outside and put it in his truck or whatever. We'll never know that. Right. But he did that. There was a reason he went outside. And I mean, you're so stupid that you think that somebody's going to actually believe that she fell and hit her head.
Right.
And come on, man.
I think if I had to guess, I think that after he did it, he moved her. He was planning on maybe taking her outside or trying to cover it up in some way, but then he realized how hard that would be.
I think you're absolutely correct. Did you know there's an online cannabis company that ships federally legal THC right to your door? And they found a way to combine THC with carefully selected functional ingredients to target nearly every mood and health concern you can think of. I'm talking about Mood.com's incredible line of functional gummies. And you can get 20% off your first order at Mood.com with promo code RLRC. Forget one-size-fits-all supplements that only get you high. Mood's functional gummies are optimized to kick in as little as 15 minutes and take you to the mood that you're looking for. Whether that's Mind Magic gummies for deep work and creativity, PMS support to ease cramps and balance mood swings, or their sexual euphoria gummies to help you feel ready for action and turn every touch into a full body experience. Look, y'all, you know I have trouble sleeping. I take the Sleepy Time gummy. I take a quarter of one before I go to sleep, and I sleep hard all night long. Never even move, wake up feeling fresh as a daisy. So listen, you can find gummies to just get you high pretty much anywhere these days. But Mood's functional gummies combine premium federal legal THC with targeted botanicals to help you get into that perfect mood, usually in as little as 15 minutes. And everything ships discreetly right to your door. No dispensary lines, no awkward conversations, just better days and nights delivered to your doorstep. Best of all, not only is every Mood product backed by a 100-day satisfaction guarantee, but as I mentioned, listeners get 20% off their first order with code RLRC. So head to Mood.com, find the functional gummy that matches exactly what you're looking for, and let Mood help you discover your perfect mood. And don't forget to use promo code RLRC when you check out to save 20% on your first order. Women, have you ever had one of those days where everything just feels off? Like you're stuck in the middle of a mystery and you can't solve it? Your energy's crashing, your mood's swinging like a suspect in an interrogation room, and no matter what you do, nothing adds up. Well, Cindy has been there, and sometimes the real culprit is hiding in the shadows, is hormonal imbalance. Here's a twist. More than 1,000 hormone disruptors are living rent-free in our world, lurking in our food, our air, even our skincare. And when hormones go haywire, it can feel like you're trapped in your own personal true crime story, especially during premenopause or menopause. But here's the good news. This is the one case you can crack with Hormone Harmony by Happy Mammoth. All you need to do is take their free 2-minute quiz. You'll answer a few simple questions. Just like that, you'll get a personalized recommendation to help bring your hormones back into balance. No long investigation required. What I love is that Hormone Harmony is made with adaptogens, natural science-backed herbal extracts that help your body adapt to stress and hormonal changes, whether it's PMS, hot flashes, brain fog, or sleepless nights. This product is designed to help you feel like you again. Over 40,000 glowing reviews don't lie, and neither do the results. 86% of women say they started losing weight. 77% say their mood improved. And the biggest win, 100% say they feel like themselves again. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use the code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com, code RLRC for 15% off today. And otherwise, there's no reason to move her body at all. And so you move, it's hard to move a body. Okay, I'm trained in it. We have to do it under live fire situations, stuff like that. The dummies that weigh 100 pounds, it's a bitch. It's much harder if they are bleeding everywhere and you're like, holy shit, how am I going to clean this up anyway? And there was...
The DA did say that the blood looked, or somebody said, the police or the DA said that the blood looked like it had been like there were spots that looked like he had tried to wipe it down, or somebody had tried to wipe it down.
Yeah, and that, if Hailey had committed suicide, why would you even try to clean it up? Why would you try to say she fell and hit her head? Well, I mean, you just say she committed suicide. I mean, that's not your fault, right? And So, I mean, again, all this is circumstantial, but when you go through the whole thing, and then look, and I'm not taking up for them again because they did it, they messed up a lot of stuff. But as the investigation goes along, and you put these pieces together, the puzzle only fits one way, and then you run into the problems that they ran into because it's their problems, not Hailey's problem. Problems they ran into with the fireman moving the shotgun, with not, finding out what he was actually wearing when he was outside. And I mean, he didn't get, all of it, the stuff they did and didn't do. That's their problem, but that's part of investigations. You're going to fuck up stuff. I get that, but don't do it to the point where, you know what, we're not going to take it to a murder trial because we're afraid of losing. So, but let's get back to it. The cops get there. He's laughing, joking. And, look, they put him in handcuffs. Yeah, and he never asked why. And bring him downstairs. I think at one point in all the videos downstairs, he asked about Hailey when he'd been sitting in a car for a couple of hours. And I'd be like, bitch, why am I in here? Where's my fiance? And da 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 da. But he's sitting back. In my opinion, he's sitting back waiting to see what's going to happen. Hey, we're taking you to the station to talk to detectives. Okay. Yeah. And
I think he was waiting to see if they were going to, tell him they were charging him with murder.
Right. And look at that. Yep, that's me on the computer. Look, my hair's messed up in that picture. Ha ha ha. Yeah, do you remember that? He was in a cop car?
How? Yeah, how?
Exactly. Even if Hailey had committed suicide, which she didn't, then why are you laughing about your fucking driver's license picture? Exactly. And why aren't you asking about her? Right? Again, these are things that need to be stacked on top of one another in a natural progression like we tried to do. So, y'all, anything else about obviously, Jesus, the crime scene is horrible and all that. But when they get him to the station, same kind of thing. The videos from the room, he's hanging out and, just doing his jam. They let him sit a little bit. They go in there and he talks about hunting and this, and, they set him up on the shotgun. He says Hailey doesn't know anything about shotgun. That she knew he had it, she got it from whatever. But and I'm kind of quoting, but he said, and I told her, don't ever touch it. It's in the corner by the TV. That was one of the first statements. As it progresses later on, after the guy gets tired of listening to bullshit, and it was like, no, she's dead, and you did it, and da da da. That's when he does all the flipping out. But later on, about the shotgun, it progresses. It went from she knew nothing about it. I kept it for home safety because we're in a kind of bad neighborhood. I kept it stacked by the TV. And later on, it goes all the way through. Oh no, she knew well how to do it. She had put took it and said she was going to kill herself before with it, and all this is much afterwards. And why? Because you got a fucking problem, right?
Right.
So
and one more thing back before though, I wanted to say too is that from the time that he left the apartment, he went outside to sit down and they talked to him and he said she was kicking him out and whatever.
Yep.
They never heard Hailey again.
Yep.
The thing is, Hailey, I'm almost 100% positive was passed out or asleep. And because I'm telling you, if somebody came knocking at the door or whatever, or was, if they were arguing and people were around or he came back in, she was not quiet.
Hailey's very feisty, especially when she was
a loud girl.
She was a very loud woman.
We used to joke that she didn't have an indoor voice.
Right. But
she would not have stayed silent for that.
You know what got me? He's outside. He tells Buck, she's kicking me out. whatever, right? And he's like, "You good?" "Yeah, I'm good." Again, we don't know what he was wearing, but I totally believe in my heart she's passed out. 0.25, no way. At 100 pounds, no way. And whether he went back in and, she's on the couch, passed out, and he puts the shotgun in her mouth, even if he was playing. Let's say even it's like Platoon, the Vietnam movie, where they're blowing weed smoke down the shotgun barrel, and like they blow it into the chamber, the other person sucks on the barrel, like using it as a pipe, whatever. It still happened, but I think she's passed out, right? And he's like, you know what? It's cold out here. Fuck that. She's going to leave me. I'm not having any of it. I'm going back inside. And
right.
And Haley's dead, right? And just absolute tragedy. But then when you're with the cops and you're joking about everything from hunting on your grandpa's place to this and that and whatever, and you never ask about Haley.
I know. And he even went so far as to call her, well, sometimes she's a bitch.
Yep. But hell, he called her. He slipped up and called her a bitch when he was on the phone with 911.
I know.
And those are the things that need to be stacked and need to be put together and put before a grand jury, because anybody that listens to that is going to be like, with in totality, with everything else, anybody that listens to that is going to be like, okay, obviously, he killed her. And look, Haley was about to get her car. That's independence that Brooks didn't want. What I got from him, he's a very controlling dude. And he couldn't stand the thought of her moving on. And I'm sure she told him that day, get out. We know she told him to get out. But Buck said that Brooks clearly told him, said, "Nah, she kicked me out, man." Right. So, and it's cold. And if your BAC is a 0.25 and he's gone, he's outside for an hour, what else you got to do but go to sleep?
Yeah, because she didn't have her phone.
Right. And so
that's a whole nother thing. Mazda, why did he have both of their phones, and why did he feel the need to sit outside for 30 minutes and eat, despite him saying he was really tired and wanted to go home? Why did he feel the need to sit out there and watch? Because he said he felt like he needed to. Like, what does that mean?
Exactly. And that's another thing, that when lifers call in and they get heard or they type their emails, put it all in there. Whatever questions you have, whatever questions you glean from all the different episodes, put it in there. Right. But I know they didn't have it all together, everything right at one time. And the biggest mistake in the whole case, and there's a lot of them, but the biggest mistake in the whole case is them sending Hailey for an autopsy without having the complete information to give the pathologist. And that is why we are talking today. That's one of the main reasons. And I know I'm skipping around, but the pathologist is only as good as the evidence that they're presented. You go to your medical doctor, you have to tell your medical doctor, "Look, I got a sore throat. I'm coughing. I'm running a fever of 104. Then the medical doctor examines you. They might test you for strep or whatever, and they come back and they narrow it down. And they have to have information. You're presented with Haley's body. You don't have the information, and then you see it's in the mouth gunshot wound, and you don't have any information. Well, what your experience? The only thing you can say is, well, there's no damage to the back of the tongue, and not all the other cases, but 99% of the other cases I worked for, no damage to the back of the tongue. It was a suicide. And then she goes back and presents not even all the information then yet, but presents the information that they had. And they openly said, the detectives and the DA openly said they thought it was a homicide. They go back and present that to him, and he changes it from suicide to undetermined. That's a victory.
Yes.
That right there is enough to take it to trial. And
Right.
I mean, he can't turn around and say it was murder. Even if they had all the information, he would still had to make the determination of undetermined because he wasn't in the apartment. You see
Right.
that,
And
and
the thing is, like, what I didn't understand with Stephanie, she kept saying we can't go against the medical examiner. How is that going against him if he says it's undetermined? He's saying he doesn't know one way or the other, so it's not going against him to say that no.
it's actually going with him because he started it out as a suicide.
Right.
And he changed it, and he can't change it, unless Jesus comes down right now and provides us with a video of Hailey's last moments. He can't change it to a homicide. You can't. I mean,
Right.
but undetermined, and guess what? There was only two of them in there. Well, the undetermined is just the cause of death by the pathologist. Now you still got all this other stuff that you've got. The pathologist is not a jury member. Okay, you take the undetermined from the pathologist. The very fact that he changed it from suicide to undetermined, then you take everything else that you have up to this point, and you put it together, and you put that before a grand jury, and say, how do you vote? Right? Indictment, no indictment. And let me tell you something, that there was one straight up effing lie told to y'all, and you recorded it. And that was that when they're in the room and they're trying to tell you, we got to get more evidence or what have you, whatnot. And the guy says, well, we only get one shot at this. And if we take it before the grand jury and they say no, then this case is done. That is not true. That is absolutely not true. You have grand juries. So if you present the evidence to the grand jury and they no bill it, all they're going to do is tell you, and you say, well, why did you no bill it? They're going to say, because you need this, this, and this. That would have made me believe it. Right. So the case is still open. If they had taken it to trial, and I said this since the beginning on murder, if they had taken it to trial and they come back not guilty, then you can't try them again. So that was just a lie. That was like, okay, these people are going to, we're going to make them go away. They're asking way too many questions. We thought this was going to be a 10-minute meeting. Now it's a 45-minute meeting or a 90-minute meeting, however long it was. And we just, I'm going to tell them to go. This is how I'm telling them to go away. We only have one shot. Bullshit. And you don't. But we want y'all to have your shot. We want you to have the shot at the grand jury, because I'm telling you, there's no way they present everything to the grand jury, even the smallest little details, that they don't come back and say, indict him. He's indicted for murder.
Exactly. I don't see any way anybody could hear all the facts of the case, and just facts, and not,
I agree with you 1,000%. Let's talk a little bit more about the case. All right, so they come. We know they came and told y'all at your house. We know the pathologist had to be redone, and because he didn't have all the information, and he changed. Huge victory for Hailey. We know that she even took it to some shrink. She being the DA lady. I mean, they are on there.
Oh, right.
Everybody said it's a homicide. It's a homicide. It's a homicide. We're gonna prove it's a homicide. It's a homicide. And they even take it to the shrink, and the shrink says, "Hey, that's not because that dude's messed up. That's not because he has mental issues. That's because he's lying."
Right. Exactly. And he was supposed to be one of the best.
The best of the best. They spared no expense on him, and that's huge. If you might first of all, I think the pathologist changing from suicide to undetermined is a victory. They need to look at it like that. Secondly, you go out and get a person who specializes in reading people. He's a shrink. That's what they do. That's what they're known for. They're famous for it. And he says, hey, that dude's fucking lying. He killed her.
Right.
That witness ought to give more credence to the grand jury and then in trial than anything else. And I mean, you got the best in the world saying, "Hey, you know what? I wasn't there, but everything he did afterwards, this lie. And look, they'll break it down by each little one, which is why the series took so long because he kept lying. Break it down by each little one. He'd be like, full of shit, full of shit, full of shit, full of shit. He's in self-preservation. He did this because he's lying.
Yeah, and they said it wasn't a trauma response.
They had the option to give him the like lie detector test. He even said like, you can hook me up and do a test.
Yeah.
And they didn't.
Yeah, let me tell you that real quick on that part. I totally believe that they already think that they had him at that point, and so the polygraph is basically just used. I mean, I've been a state licensed board certified polygraphist now for 25 years, and it is basically used as an interrogation tool to try to get somebody to confess. But I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't work all the time because it works most of the time, and it's only good as the examiner. But I can't tell you how many people that are guilty of murder told me, "Hook me up to the machine. I'm innocent. Hook me up to the machine." Right? And because there's only two kinds of people who take my test: the ones who take it because they know they can pass it, and the ones who say that because they're hoping that they could beat the instrument, or they could beat you, or that you're not going to actually give it to them, and they didn't give it to them. So
right.
And,
yeah, and he I just don't understand. Like, I mean, I don't understand why they didn't do it then, but they didn't.
Yeah.
But one more thing that I forgot is when they did her, I guess when they did the autopsy or whatever, she had a chunk of hair in her right hand.
Right.
Of her hair, which is hard to talk about, but
she was right-handed.
So
how is it possible that she had
her hand gripped around it?
That she had her dominant hand on her hair with the amount of alcohol that she had in her body, holding a shotgun that's like literally almost as tall as her. That's like physically just not possible.
She couldn't have shot herself with a shotgun with her non-dominant hand.
Yeah.
Being that drunk. That's like that.
Very, very important. And that's another piece of the puzzle. Correct? So if you take it to trial as a prosecutor, you're going to reenact that, right? How hard it would be for a 5 foot nothing to put a shotgun in their mouth, first of all, and pull the trigger. Secondly, do it with your non-dominant hand, but more importantly, with a .25. Yeah, it just doesn't happen. And again, I'm about to take my nap. It's cold as shit outside. It's cloudy, dark clouds, ominous. Looks like it's going to snow. Wake up an hour later, 6 inches, but it's not snowing. What did it do? It snowed. I didn't see it. I wasn't outside when it snowed. But by God, that's the only reasonable conclusion is it snowed. And the only reasonable conclusion in this case is Brooks Cleary killed her in a fit of rage because he knew she was done with him. But there's more. Maybe you could tell me at what point it flipped for them. We got that long ass recording y'all made of them saying homicide, 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 homicide. And even the guy walking to the parking lot, I promise you, we're going to get him one day for homicide. I don't know. Da, 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 da. At what point did that flip? I mean, we already knew about their problem with the pathologist, but at what point does it flip from that to, well, we're just going to charge them with moving a body and damage to property?
I kept calling and they just kept saying, well, we don't have anything else. We don't have anything else. And so
it was almost like the second we left, that was the switch. They literally just
yeah, when she called, I think you played the phone call when she called me to tell me that that's what they were going to charge him with.
Right.
And I think it was their easy way out.
Right.
I think that they just realized that, they might have to do a little more work or do a little more investigating or call somebody else in or something. And I think it was just, they just decided they didn't want to.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It is unfortunate that y'all are not rich and famous, like the Menendez brothers or, like Scott Peterson became infamous because of news coverage for his trial and stuff like that, because this would have never got swept. They would have had to press forward, if nothing else, then to give y'all the piece that they couldn't prosecute. And they went the other way. They prosecuted him for the other charges, basically had a full-blown murder trial without calling it a murder trial. And even though, even in that trial, they didn't have everything that we have, right?
Right.
And,
right.
but they got a conviction. And so.
Yeah, it was not, like, it didn't take long at all for the jury to come back.
An hour.
I think it took like an hour and a half.
Do you know that's just about as short as they can get? It probably takes 15, 20 minutes to pick a jury foreman. And then you got to go around and vote once. And I've actually had this in murder cases where they came back, the bailiffs listened through the door and said it took them longer to pick the jury foreman than it did to vote him guilty. And then they sat around because they didn't want to come out too fast and look like they didn't take it serious. Yeah, because it was a slam dunk. And I believe I would have never taken Haley's case. First of all, if I didn't believe that he murdered her. Secondly, if I didn't believe that we had a serious shot at giving her justice. And we've done it. We could talk about it for 10 more episodes, but we're getting to like the 40-minute mark. And what I don't want to do is lose people because, as episodes go longer, they have to turn off, go to the grocery store, may not finish or whatever. But I would like to do is get into the call to action part. Y'all mind?
Nope, we're ready.
All right. So first of all, I want each one of you three to say what it is, and I didn't ask you this ahead of time, but say what it is to the lifers, because they're going to be the ones making the calls. They're going to be the ones sending the emails. They're going to be the ones, that will give them a list and everything else if they choose to. What would you ask that they do from the bottom of your heart after hearing Haley's story?
I just want them to, ask everybody to please call and, push for a grand jury, push for an indictment.
Right.
And, please, just call, take 5 minutes.
Call, email. We're going to have every option in the world on there for you. And, Haley was a real, y'all know this better than anybody, but she was a real live, breathing human being who was loved. She's not just another true crime story.
Right. And, I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who has listened and reached out. People post sunsets for her. And I'm telling you that touches us so much. And it means so much to us that no matter what happens in the case, at least people know her and they know how good she was and they know what kind of person she was, and that, and they've all just kind of embraced her. Yeah. Embraced her story, and I cannot thank all the lifers enough for everything. It's beautiful.
They treat her as though, because I feel bad for saying this, but a lot of times in the true crime community, people can get caught up and forget that they're actual human beings.
Right.
But this, like, the real crime community actually treats Haley like she was alive and like a person, and
almost like family.
I know, like family, and wants to get to know her, and still thinks about her and posts about her and talks about her. And it's just, it's genuinely very sweet and touching. That
and it gives me goosebumps. And remember what I told y'all, the whole goal, besides trying to get it for the grand jury, is I want to put the human face on Hailey and y'all, and all three of your pain. Make it not just another story. Make them take Hailey as their own.
Yes, and you did that. I mean, and they embraced her, and I just can't. Again, I can't thank all of y'all enough. It's so much to us.
And well, y'all, thank y'all for entrusting us to do it. But now is where the rubber meets the road. Okay, and so Tyler, do you want to say anything?
Yeah. I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been keeping up with her case, because I know it's a lot of episodes and it's a lot to keep up with, and there's just so much information. So I've listened to a lot of the episodes a couple of times.
Right.
And so it's a lot to keep up with, but it's, just by taking the time to listen or interact or even just comment, hashtag justice for Hailey under anything that you post,
right,
really does help out a lot. Like Tommy on the Real Life Real Crime app, he's always posting and almost always uses the hashtag.
Right. This April, we're celebrating Earth Month, and it's the perfect time to think about the choices we make every day, especially the ones we don't always think about, like where we sleep. If there's one thing I've learned, it's the quality is sustainability. When you invest in something well made, it lasts longer. And that means less waste, fewer replacements, and a bigger impact on protecting our planet. That's why I love Avocado Green Mattress. Avocado makes certified organic mattresses, crafted with non-toxic materials in their very own zero-waste factory. They've already diverted 85% of their waste from landfills, and they're aiming for 90%. It's not just about comfort, it's about caring for the planet with every choice we make. And here's something I really love. Avocado is a proud member of the 1% for the planet. That means at least 1% of every dollar they earn goes straight to environmental nonprofits tackling climate change and protecting ecosystems. So when you choose Avocado, you're not just sleeping better, you're giving back. If you're thinking about upgrading your mattress, do it with purpose. Choose one that's better for you and better for the planet. Head to avocadomattress.com today and save up to 10% on certified organic mattresses. Dream of better for you and the planet.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Ranked #1 in innovation for 10 consecutive years and #2 among public universities for employability, ASU isn't just ahead of the curve. It's creating new paths to success. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online, that's a degree better. Explore more than 300 undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
And Leah too.
Mm-hmm. And do you know, for Tyler, for everyone that actually takes the time to post, there are thousands that'll just read it or don't post, and there's thousands and thousands and thousands more that don't go to the app, that don't go to Facebook, that just listen to the episodes.
Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're good. Okay.
Even the people who are just listening on Spotify or Apple right now.
Right.
And by taking the time to listen to her story and spread it, like, that's more people getting to know Hailey. That's more people fighting for justice for her. It's just, it means a lot.
Wow. Well, I think we've done as good as we can do on, I know it's been I say huge success because I wouldn't, if I could give up not having, if Hailey was alive and I never had to do her story, that'd be the best thing. But that's not the case. But the people taking Hailey, hearing y'all, it all started with them hearing y'all's pain from the hotel room in Atlanta. and it's been a journey and an odyssey since then. But what now, because I've done this enough, and I know the lifers, and lifers, I'm talking to y'all specifically, we're going to provide you with a list of numbers. There'll be telephone numbers to offices like the district attorney, and y'all, guess what? Miss Barber told me today they have a new female district attorney for that area, meaning not the ADA that prosecuted. I'm talking about the big dog, right, Miss Barber?
Yes.
Yeah. And we're going to give you her office number. We're going to give you the email. And whatever, I'm not telling y'all to do anything, but if you're so inclined, would you please call or email or both and say, hey, hashtag justice for Hailey, put all the facts together, however you want to word it, whatever you got out of this whole series, and say, all this family wants is this case presented to the grand jury. I believe that the rest will take care of itself. But the main thing I want to say, lifers, because I know you. So, lifers, the one thing I know, because I know you, please, there are a certain percentage of y'all that want to call them up and curse them out and leave nasty messages and all that. That's not going to help us. I know, I get it. I get it. You're fired up, and everybody will want to go in and dig in the detective's ass, and the cops have messed up and curse them, and everything else. But that's not going to help. Please. I know some of you are going to do it anyway, and that's fine. You do whatever you want to do. I would ask that you try to do it in as a pissed off, respectful manner as you can, so they'll take it serious. Okay, we have this big shot, and we've been building up to this. We put a lot of time into it. This is our chance. Now, the district attorney is only going to be one. The new lady district attorney. We're going to give you her office number, the email, etc. We're going to give you the just assistant district attorney that prosecutes the case. What's her name, Miss Barber? Some bad names.
Stephanie Green.
So we're going to give you Stephanie Green's information. Same thing. If you so choose, lay it on her. But it's about the facts, all the things that weren't done that if put together now, you take it for a grand jury, you can't lose. We're going to give you the police department's number. And I think it should be that we'll give you the detectives, which really, that's more of just so you can vent if you want to or whatever. But we're going to give you the chief of police number. And if you're so inclined, call them and tell them how you feel about Hailey, right? And then we're going to leave out the judge, because it's actually not the judge's fault what was or wasn't done as far as the case went. But the huge, probably the biggest, besides the district attorney, is the news media. Some of these outlets have actually interviewed this beautiful family, and they actually, since we picked up the story, they've done several, right, Miss Barber?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And
3 or 4.
Okay, so the news media, the news desk or whatever, be very specific about why you're calling or emailing, and what we need. If there was ever such thing as bringing political pressure or what we used to call an APE, an acute political emergency, this is it. The news media, the prosecutors and all can ignore your calls, and the cops can ignore your calls, etc. The news media, they get enough. It's different for them. They know there's a story there, just like they did in the beginning when we started this series, and Miss Barber and Tyler and Stella. Y'all did it, and you got some news interviews and everything, and it's awesome, right? But now I hate to use this term, but it's blood in the water. And when enough lifers call, the politicians can not ever respond if they choose not to. But when the news media shows up at their door with the cameras and want to talk about it, they can't refuse them. And if they say no comment, that doesn't help them. The cops are going to say no comment, I can assure you, or we can't comment on an ongoing investigation. But the news media needs to know everything that y'all have inside your head, lifers. Put it in there and say, hey, and if you get a chance to talk to a reporter, great. I'm going to tell you right now, if you leave your number, some of those reporters are going to call you back. I'm talking about lifers. They're going to call y'all back and be prepared. And just tell them, say, hey, they didn't do this. And what about this and this, and this? And, it is what it is. So the news media, huge. Every outlet, and then some, and the district attorney and the police put it together. Let's answer the call to action. And like we've done it in the past, I'm not telling you to call and harass anyone. I'm not telling you to threaten anyone. That is not going to get us anywhere. Call and speak logically. You can be pissed off. Call and be pissed off. But you don't have to be ugly to them. You just tell them why you're calling and why Hailey's story should be ended with hashtag we got justice for Hailey.
Yes.
Right? That's what we want to change it to. And that just gave me God bumps. We want to say hashtag we got justice for Hailey. And the family's not asking for anything that's unreasonable. Take it and present it to the grand jury. If you lose, okay. It's not going to be okay, but it'd be better than them sitting in jail for moving her body and
Right.
tearing up a police camera. Who gives a fuck about, not the body part, but the tearing up the interview room.
Exactly.
And I've talked to y'all about this, right? And all three of y'all answered me on this, Miss Barbara and Stella and Tyler. That if they go to the grand jury, and whatever happens, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If they present it honestly with all the facts,
absolutely,
and they don't get an indictment, then we tried.
And you know what? There's no way in hell that's going to happen. But
I agree.
we need for it to be able to not happen, we got to get it there. And when we get it there, I believe in my heart that in all my years of doing this, I believe without a shadow of a doubt, you put 12 people in there and you present all the evidence, not just the shit that you had when you took him for moving her body and tearing up a police room or whatever. You put all this other take an hour out of your day, go find the people and talk to Miss Barbara them about the sweatshirt and maybe take it back in the evidence and see if that's the sweatshirt he was wearing. That's just another piece of the puzzle. There's so many little things that can be done.
Right.
But take an hour out of your time. And you know what? We bring enough political pressure, First of all, the DAs could be like, oh, well, why did I know about this? Why didn't I know about this? Because the news media is going to know about it also, right? And then they could say, remember they promised y'all we get more evidence. We'll absolutely move forward with it. Well, we're giving them more evidence. And the news media will show up. They've got to answer. Everybody answers to someone. And the district attorney, it's not her fault. She wasn't in the office. Not talking about the one that did the prosecution, the one that's in there now. That she she got elected by the people. She is represented the people. And guess who is, even though she's no longer with us, one of the people that she's sworn to, basically defend and everything else is Hailey.
Right.
And get justice.
And not to mention, I mean, they owe it to the community to protect the community from
absolutely.
Absolutely.
You're absolutely correct on that. And so what we're going to do is we're going to end this and we're going to put on all our social media. Cindy's going to work on it in the next couple of days. And so when it goes out on Friday, now I expect there's going to be a lot of action on Friday, but you got to remember a lot of lifers are going to be driving to work or picking their kids up from school or working out or whatever. And then as the weekend goes along, there'll be more, and people will have more time to email or call, even though the offices will be closed. Monday's going to be the same thing, and you can see the numbers whether listening on Friday, and they go up over the weekend as people catch up on episodes. But they ultimately, you're going to hear something. I promise you, you're going to hear something. The DA is going to call and say, "Can you get these people off my ass?" Or we'll continue to look into it, or whatever. And this has happened in other cases that we've done, and we backed off, and they did their job, and that's fine. That's all we want to do. Do your job. Do your job. Hey, if you take it in and you lose it, okay, but you're not. But you were never going to know until you do it. So all these links will be posted everywhere. I would ask that you be as pissed off, respectful as you can, lifers. And you heard it from Miss Barbara and Stella and Tyler. This is their Hailey, right? And this is their chance to continue Hailey's story and to get hashtag justice for Hailey, and ultimately hashtag we got justice for Hailey.
I know, I can't. Yes, thank you.
Okay, ladies, any final words?
Just thank you.
Thank you so much for taking her case, Woody, and thank you to the lifers, and thank you, Cindy, for all your work on it, and thank you, Leah, and I cannot ever thank all of you enough.
We love all.
Yes, we love you guys. Thank you.
Y'all are awesome, and we love y'all too. And I know I speak for all lifers and my wife, and we want what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong, and this is wrong, and we're going to try to make it right. Okay. And so, hey, lifers, when you, and they've done this in the past, I don't even have to ask this, when the ones of y'all that are on social media, et cetera, when you call in, and look, I promise you a lot of them are going to call every number that we give them and email them to. But y'all, when you do it, make posts about it, because it's going to make it roll. And more people will be like, you know what? I'm going to do it too. It's very, very important that you share. Hey, I contacted such and such, and they told me such and such. I contacted such and such. So y'all share that, and we'll make sure to continue to share it. And if you just take a moment of your time, and reach out. And a phone call, if you get a voicemail, they can say they didn't get it. An email, you can always share that. Just take a second of your time to help us get justice for Hailey. And yeah, we love y'all. And I'm talking about ladies, I love y'all. Miss Stella and Tyler, Miss Barbara.
I know Hailey feels all the love too, and that.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm sitting right here, so this audio may be a little bit different because I'm actually in my bedroom recording it, and right here to my left, looking me in my eyes right now is Hailey, the picture that you gave me, and that she's there every night. She sees this old man get ready for bed, and she sees him roll out of bed in the morning. But she's here, and I expect one day when I get to heaven, get Lord willing, that she's gonna be one of the ones that gives me a big fat hug. So
definitely give you a big hug.
And of all the lifers, so y'all take a second and do it. And Miss Stella and Tyler and Miss Barbara, I love y'all. Thank you so much, all you lifers. This is the time to shine. Make Hailey your own. Let's get justice for Hailey. Continue to do the post. We'll probably do a follow-up episode next week on how it's going or what news media has reached out or whatever. But let's get justice for Hailey. Hashtag justice for Hailey. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And until next time or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace.